Welcome to episode 76 of the Brunch Ladies of Conshy Consignment. We are honored to have Colleen here, founder of Back to Earth Compost Crew. And I'm going to let her do most of the talking, believe it or not. I'll try to hold myself back.
You're going to
So welcome, Colleen. Tell us a little bit about where you are and what your business is. And we have like a million questions for you.
Oh, fantastic. I love questions. But thanks for having me today. I didn't realize that was quick. It's 11 o'clock already.
Yeah.
And we're live.
Yep.
Thanks for having me. I'm Colleen Falicki, and I'm a big fan of Conshy Consignment. As you know, I hop on your lives and stalk y'all. But I'm just honored to be a part of the circular community in this area. And I have a business called Back to Earth Compost Crew. And people ask me oh, how did you get started? That's something different. How did you start doing that? And I started years ago when my kids were younger. I realized that I wanted to do something, for them and for their children, to make our planet a better place to be and live. And we started purchasing, going to the local farmers markets and being really intentional about where we were getting our food and our groceries, and then also thinking about our waste in our house. So I started composting, and I did it all wrong, but I just wanted to keep the food waste out of the landfill was my thing. We didn't have a garden at the time, so I really wasn't trying to make soil, but I just wanted to do something to keep, our trash down. So I was doing that.
I'm going to back up a second because there's a question I want to add in there because it's a question I've received, and I don't know if I answered it to the best of my ability. All right. So why do we want to keep food scraps out of the landfill? I mean, people, that's a question. All right, I'm throwing away, it's degradable. So just a very basic.
That's a great question. So when you say it's degradable, once it goes to the landfill, there's no air there. The composting is an aerobic activity, so it requires oxygen. And first of all, thinking about a landfill or incineration is when it goes to the landfill, it creates methane gas, which is not good for our environment. And neither is incineration. We're burning it, and it's creating, it's going into the atmosphere. It has to go somewhere. And then the ash goes into the landfill from the incinerator. So what we're trying to do is if 30 to 40% of what we throw away is food waste, we're trying to keep that out of the landfill. And landfills are at, they're getting to be capacity. There's only so much room. Then they have to take it further out. Then there's more transportation and more emissions involved with that. So why not turn it into something that's useful and that can be added back into the soil? I mean, compost is a soil conditioner that is, and I could talk all day about the benefits. Once you create compost with the food, it's you taking all these nutrients and throwing it into the landfill, where you can actually be creating a product. And that's and they call it black gold for a reason, because it is just so nutrient dense. And then once it goes into your garden, you add it into your soil, the plants take it up, and then the plants are healthier. The plants need less pesticide. They don't need pesticides, or they don't need to be watered as often because it absorbs a lot of water. The compost does. So then we're using less water. So that's less on our, resources that we need to use. And then the plants are healthier, and then we're eating it. We're healthier. It's the cycle is the beautiful thing to see. So healthier plants, healthier people, healthier planet. So in a roundabout way, that's a good way to describe, I think, why composting is so important to keep out of the landfill. We don't have room in the landfill. It's not environmentally a good thing to do to continually, I think, and what you're doing, just like what both of you are doing, keeping things out of the landfill, circular economy, figuring out ways, if we can't repair it, recycle it, compost it, we need to think about why we're making it in the first place, because it has to go somewhere, right? If you think about it's not like food waste doesn't break down in the land. And when it does break down, it's creates the methane gas. So, and just and everyday like waste, like figuring out ways where we can use less or create or, compost what we do use type of thing. So
yeah, you did a much better job of explaining
Oh.
that than I did, because I've been asked that question so many times. All
Okay.
right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's I feel like creating that soil that's really beneficial to add back. We need we're running out of topsoil and we need it. So we need healthy, nutritious with microbes that just are good for us. So, and compost is the way to do that.
Yes.
And you were saying that when you first started composting, you weren't doing it right. What was
Yeah.
Can you go a little more in detail about that the right way?
Yeah. I teach a class, the 5 easy steps to home compost, because I'm like a visual learner. Like I like steps that are like, this is what I need to do and I can get it done. So I wasn't adding browns, to answer your question, which is like the leaves, enough leaves, cardboard. You can add shredded paper. So you can add all of that. I was adding the food waste and not enough browns. So it was mucky. It'll start to smell after a while. It won't be easy to turn. You want it like kind of light and airy. So you need to have 3 times the amount of brown carbon as you do green nitrogen. So that's where I went wrong. And it's and it's not as hard as people think. Like I have people say, like, I wanted to be compost forever and I just didn't know how to get started. And so, like, I feel like just doing it, or just doing a little bit. Start little by little. Like, do your banana peels and your apple cores, or do like the things that you make a lot of, and like if you like peppers, and like just start little, like with a couple of things, and see how it works. Like just kind of see, because you'll see like it'll start breaking down and it gets exciting. It's like, okay, then I'm going to start adding more in. I don't encourage people to like do all of their food waste from their kitchen like the first time they start composting. You might get a little discouraged because peach pits aren't going to break down right away. Eggshells take a while to break down.
Yes.
Yeah. so and the smaller that you get it, the quicker it breaks down. So and things that are easy to break down, like start with that and then build your confidence and like work your way. I mean, everyone can do it.
Everyone can do it. Not everyone wants to do it, which is where kind of your vision came in. Like, how did you come up with, we'll talk about what service you provide.
Yes.
First, and then I want to talk about like why and how.
So, we do curbside compost pickup. There was another compost company that inspired me, and I did some research and talked to the owner and like got an idea of like what they were doing as far as curbside pickup. And I realized like I could offer this service in my area for folks that wanted to compost but didn't have the space or didn't have the time. They want to do good and they want to be more sustainable, but it takes time to go turn the pile and put your stuff out there. And so we do residential curbside pickup where our composters get a 5-gallon bucket or 2 or 3, depending on how much they want to do. And we come by every other week and pick it up. We also have 5 compost collection sites at this point where we are there. And for example, Ambler Farmers Market, we have our containers and folks bring their food scraps and dump it in our containers. We talk, we're always there to answer questions as well and like just talk about composting. And so that's a way that folks can compost with us as well if they don't want to do like the curbside service. We also work with businesses. So we're doing, pickup for breweries, restaurants, schools, anyone who wants to be sustainable. We also, I'm trying to think, we do a lot of composting.
I think it's awesome with the businesses. I can't imagine like restaurants, right? The amount of compostable material they must generate.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, like in the prep kitchen, it's just like ends of carrots and, pineapple. It's just, we're, peeling the potatoes, there's that stuff. So, and it's heavy because it's wet. There's a lot of water content. So, that's part of it. And we do compost education. Like I said, I'm one to like follow easy steps. So I started something called the 5 easy steps of home composting, where, we just break it down. No pun intended.
No, we always intend our puns here. I love puns. We love them.
Libby's the queen of pun.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, it works out that way. Break it down to make it easy. We've been doing Zooms like once a month. So you can hop on a Zoom, or we can work with organizations. I've done, national companies that do Zooms where they have their employees hop on and we teach composting, answer questions. Like that's the one thing, like everyone says, like, I looked at it online and this is what I saw, but I didn't have anyone to ask when I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
So like when they're live, like I will answer also, any question if I know the answer to, right away so that they can get started. And like, that's the goal, is really to get started right when you take the class. So we have options for like folks to buy composters that they can use in their backyard. When we do our in-person workshops, they can like order and take home. So, and this gets started right away. So that's that. And we do give back days. So twice a year we do compost give back days for our composters. So they can take up to 3 5-gallon buckets home with them to put in their garden because they help create it.
That's amazing.
It's exciting.
So what was your first, like when you realized that you could do pickups? Like how did that evolve? Was it scary? I mean, it seems like a big leap to take from composting to offering the service. I mean, there's so much involved, manual labor too. Yeah,
there is. It's a lot of physical labor and logistics. So
and then I want to know, like, where were you taking it? To your house? Or
no, never to my house, because we don't have room to compost. I don't have a farm, not yet. So we do work with 2 composters that we take the food scraps to. So that was the first thing, like figuring out where we were going to take it. And I had a small SUV, so it was in the back. Like I had, the back of my SUV, and I had the containers in there. And then we eventually got a truck. So we have a pickup truck, and then our drivers have their own vehicles and their own trucks. So that's they use their vehicles or trucks to pick up as well. We're about to purchase another truck. So a van. Yeah, we need it. But it was at first kind of daunting because you have to schedule everyone in the areas that they were in. I send text reminders or email reminders, and I love meeting people in person. So I would go to the farmers markets. Like I would shop at Ambler Farmers Market, Upper Marion Farmers Market, Phoenixville Farmers Market. So to me, like being at a market was important to like talk to folks in person. So being at the market really helped to meet people in the community and gauge kind of interest that way. And we kind of started, I feel like we started close to where I'm in Plymouth Meeting. So like close to where I live, and then like Conshy, and I created a website myself and like put it up. It's actually the same one that I kind of morphed a little bit. But we now have like a system that we use, that we purchase a software. So that way, when you sign up for an account, it'll route depending on where you live. And we're able to be a lot more efficient, I will say.
Wow. So I love the story about you putting it in your SUV because, as entrepreneurs and business owners, I mean, the personal things that we do sometimes to get things up and running are,
people don't realize it.
Sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, start where you, what's that?
Yeah. I said, you do what you got to do. You're going to use the TR quote. Yeah, go ahead.
Start where you are with what you have, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where I was. But I thought about it for like 8 years before I did anything about it, just because I don't know, like who would use this service? But you listen to the voices in your head. You listen to other people, what they're saying. It's like, I'm passionate about this. I want to help other people. There's got to be a way to do it. And I always say, like, if anyone has that feeling, like, reach out to me and I will help you guide, answer questions, and help you, like, figure out if that, if it's something that you can do to, everything's figure outable. I don't know, like, as an entrepreneur, I don't know if you have that, like, mentality. Like, it's like,
yeah. You
I have to
just,
figure
and
out
you just have to start. I mean, I think
Yes.
that's the absolute key is you just have to start.
I
Yeah.
have to say, I think the pickup thing is so key nowadays. The
Mhm.
easier you make it for people, because people have gotten their lives so busy that, like you
Yes.
say, they want to make a difference, but they don't necessarily have time to make, or they don't want to make that time for that particular thing, but they want to do it. And
Yeah.
it reminds me, here locally, we have a food drive, a place that's doing food
Mhm.
and taking it to the families in need. And they do the same kind of thing. They drop off green bags at your door, and every 2 months. And so they say, keep the green bag in your pantry. Every time you shop, pick up a couple of canned goods, some peanut butter, some pasta, put it in there. And then every 2 months we get an email, okay, Saturday's pickup day. And they have volunteers that all go around to the houses, and you just put it on your porch, 1, 2, 3 bags.
That's so great.
They replace the bags on your doorknob, and they're just the cloth reusable bags.
Yeah.
And they take it, and
So
it just
smart.
keeps going. And they've done so well because they make it so convenient. And we are nowadays people of convenience.
Yes.
And I think that
Agree.
you making that so convenient for people has to really make an impact.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think that's I love what they're doing with the donations. Like you can't always get to, and you know, when you want to get there, it's like life's got busy. And it's interesting, like friends of mine are like, I drive around for months with like donations in the back of my truck
Mhm.
Right.
or in my trunk, and they take that away. Like it's like, okay, you can donate just by putting it on your doorstep. So
Put
and
it on your doorstep.
yeah,
So
same.
I think that's just brilliant with the composting. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
So
Yeah.
I want
Thank you.
to highlight what geographical area you serve because we have listeners and customers that are throughout the country. So I
Mhm.
want to know, they'll probably want to know
Yeah.
where,
Yeah, we
what
kind of,
area you serve.
in general, we have like a map on our website, but which needs to be updated. But we're most of Montgomery County, except the main line area, and we go all the way, and we also go into Chester County, into like Paoli, Berwyn, Malvern, Exton, and then over to Phoenixville. Actually, Chester Springs in between, and then all the way out to Royersford, Souderton, down to Huntington Valley, Elkins Park, Melrose Park, kind of,
Wow.
Winmore. Yeah, it's a pretty wide area, but there was interest, and so if we can have a route in that area, then we would do it. So
So
we have
you may be expanding in that. And for those of you that don't know, we're Pennsylvania, in the suburban Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
All right. So if someone is, and I'm thinking of our friend out in Oregon that has been on Brunch Lady. Wow, this is such a really awesome idea. And like you're never gonna serve it. I don't know, maybe you'll franchise, but I'm gonna say you're probably not gonna be servicing Oregon. What is there something like an organization of composters?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So first, maybe check out with your municipality, but also there is an organization that folks can look on their website and see like who, like my company is available. Institute for Local Self-Reliance is the name of it. And of course they have so many other resources there for like folks that want to support local, but it's a great place to start. And there's a list of composters like myself around the country that is on there. So check it out. Or if there's nothing available in your area, you're welcome to reach out to me and I can help give you some guidance on how to, get something started, whether it's a collection site, to get started, or curbside, however it is, or teaching people for sure. There's a way to do it, but Institute for Local Self-Reliance. There's also,
so we'll link all of that up in the show notes. We do the YouTube video live and then people can watch it after the fact. We also turn it into a podcast, so the notes will be there. So if you guys are listening on podcast, we will put those all those links in the show notes for you.
Yeah. I it's definitely worth it to check it out. like I said, it's a growing group, and they're all over the country. In fact, connected with a company in Dubai just on LinkedIn. Like they're doing similar. So they have a similar business model as we do here, and so it's really cool to see that businesses people are doing this. Like they're now, I guess, then also like not waiting for municipalities to like do something as far as like routes and like just getting something going in the community. Like an everyday citizen can do something to make this happen. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
I really want this to be the next viral thing that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so inspiring what you're doing. And I was just, when I first saw, I think I first came across Back to Earth Compost Crew on Instagram, and I was like, wow, oh wait, this is like in our area. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Cool.
And everybody I've told about it is just like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Like I don't have time to compost, and I feel like sick to my stomach every time I'm throwing food scraps in the garbage, or they don't in the more rural or in the more urban areas. You don't have a yard. It's just sometimes a little bit too much to take on. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. There is Tumblr composting, so we can teach you. We can teach you to do that too. So, but yeah, you're right. Like just making it simple and easy, and taking the anything away from like doing it. Like just here's an easy way. Just grab a bucket and start putting your scraps in there.
So I want to throw in a personal story real quick about what my husband did.
Do tell.
We compost. So we had a beautiful tree in our side backyard that unfortunately got sick, and arborists couldn't save it, so they had to cut it down. And when it got cut down, we had all these branches, and so my husband took all the branches, nice big size branches, and literally up in the top back corner of our yard, we have a sloping hill that comes down to our house. Up in the top back corner, he built a compost like log cabin, where they layered in a big square, and then lined inside of it with screening so that it would hold it, the air could come in.
Like chicken wire?
Fancy.
Yeah, like chicken wire.
Yeah.
So he made this all himself and using the wood, right? And created this, and it's big. I mean, I think we got a little too big, maybe. But it's full because he does grass clippings, and we have a lot of trees in our backyard. So we put the leaves and all in there in the fall.
Sure.
Some of them, we like to leave some for nature, and we like to keep it natural too. But so it's huge. And every now and then my husband will go, oh, there's like a squash vine growing up the neighbor's fence.
Oh my gosh.
But my favorite is I keep saying I want to get like a night camera, and put it on a tree, because there are animals that are climbing up in there. The deer are getting up in there and eating apples, and like it's so cute. I'll see a squirrel come running up on the fence with a core and eating it. So not only are we composting, but we have all the neighborhood animals that will come in at night and just have a ball.
Help themselves.
Yeah.
That's great. And the volunteers are even, they're fun. Like the plants that grow with the seeds from the composter. Yeah. Like you never know what you're going to grow out of that. But that's awesome that he was able to build something like from nature to compost nature, like the logs. And
the only thing he had to buy was the chicken wire. That was it.
I'd love to see a picture of it.
I'll do that.
We need a photo. Maybe even one of those squirrels with the apple cores.
I know. I took one the other day. One had a lemon, and I was like, "What is it? What is that?" I was like, "Oh, it's a half a lemon." I'm like, "Does he like it? Is it gonna eat it?" So
interesting.
I want to catch the deer. I want to see a deer up there, because I mean, it's probably 3 feet high. It's just leaping up in there.
Yeah.
And
wow.
having dinner.
Interesting. I can't believe they can get in there, the deer.
Yeah, my husband can see the footprints up in it. Like it will come up in there and stand up there and just eat.
Oh my
now,
God.
do you have a garden? Will you use the finished compost?
We do.
Nice.
We have a garden. We have plants and vegetable gardens and a bunch of herbs and things. So we will use it. We use it all around. So
nice.
yeah.
Oh,
and our neighbor my husband's been asking because she worked at a local composting and did classes, and we didn't know we would just do it. And so she's the one that said to my husband, do you have enough, browns in there?
Oh, right.
Because we didn't know. And that's why when you said that, I'm like, I wonder if she had the same thing we had. We didn't know about the browns.
Right.
I don't know if I have enough in mine. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
I think it's really common. That it's like a common thing. Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
I'll take a picture. I'll have Nick go up.
I want to see it. Yeah, I'm interested to see like all the different setups, because there are so many, like there's so many different creative ways that you can do it, and not also like budget friendly, right? Like you don't have to cost a lot. You just said like you just bought the chicken wire, or you can get pallets for free, from a local company, and do it that way, or even just chicken wire or nothing. Like for a while we just had an open composter until we realized like our dog was getting into the area.
We always had, I grew up in the country, but we always just had a compost heap, right? In the middle of the garden. Like that's what we had. And we get some really good squash and stuff like that.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, bet. It's so funny. All of a sudden, vines growing up the fence. Like, oh, what are we growing here?
What are we growing? Yeah, like watching
it. I'm not sure our backyard neighbors do. So, my husband will go out there and kind of pull it off and redirect it. Like, they might not want the squash growing over by their pool. I don't know.
So, guys, submit your compost pictures.
Yes,
that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I think.
We want to know.
That'll be fun.
Or any other burning compost questions?
Yes, I adored that you had you named the compost bucket, because we love to like name our furniture creations. So like I definitely identified with Scrappy. I thought that was like, and Scrappy goes to the beach. If you haven't checked out Back to Earth Compost Crew social media, do so. It's adorable. It's educational. It's fun. I love Scrappy.
Try to make it engaging and fun. Yeah, Scrappy is my sister-in-law's creation, and I think that he goes to the beach or camping, or just a reminder that you can take your bucket places, or just another bag, and like make sure that you're composting wherever you're going. I think like you said, like it's hard, like once you start doing it, like to not, you don't want to put the stuff in the trash.
You once you get used to doing that, you're like, oh, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Even on vacation. And I honestly had never thought about doing it on vacation, or bringing along the compost bucket on vacation. I just thought that was so smart.
I think you'll find.
Go ahead. No, you're so used to doing it. When you go and you don't, you do feel like you're doing something wrong.
Yes.
Like if they don't have a recycle, I feel the same thing. Like, what am I doing with this plastic bottle? They don't recycle. What,
Right. Do I hold on to it? Like, that's what I do. Like, if I'm out somewhere, like my truck will have whatever brown paper in it, because I put that in the compost. So I'll hang on to the stuff till I get home, and I can divide up where it needs to go.
Right. Yeah.
Now, this is something I was doing, as I was putting our compost in a brown paper bag. And then taking it out and putting that in the compost bin. But it sounds like I should have shredded the bag.
No, the bag will break down. Yeah, so you don't need to worry. I mean, you could, but it'll break down fine. And that's what I use. I use a brown paper bag, because we have them here, and it makes it easy for me to just pop it out there.
So where do you keep it? I'm asking because I bought my husband one of the kind of little lidded cans that's charcoal filtered, that you just sit in your kitchen. But we are vegan. We've been vegan for 2 years now.
Okay. And that's a lot of compostable material.
The little birthday gift I gave him 2 years ago is not cutting the mustard for what we need. So we always have the brown paper bags, and we use that for our recycle. That's what we put our recycle in when we take it out. But if we use that for compost, where do you put it? Is it in that?
We do. I have my 5-gallon bucket. I take mine now with me and just dump it in so I line the bucket with a brown bag, or I'll use like brown lunch bags in the kitchen. IKEA has a nice one. It has a couple different sizes now of a countertop compost container that's very easy to wash, but it also can go. There's a small one that can go under the sink, so that's a really good one. I use any container that's on my countertop. To be honest with you, if I have like a container that we use our leftovers in, like I'll just put it on the side and start putting the scraps in there, and then take it out to my 5-gallon container out near my side door. And if you want, if a lid isn't working so well, like if the squirrels or something, raccoon is trying to get in there, they have twist off tops for 5-gallon buckets at Lowe's or Home Depot. I've seen them, those spots, and you can just twist off you can put something on there to create a twist off top. So that's actually, a lot of our composters use those. So it keeps that, it'll keep the animals out, the smells, and the brown bag liner inside that.
Right. We actually bought, for the little canister, they had bags that were compostable, biodegradable. The problem with the bags is they did such a good job that double line, and still when you go to take it up the hill, you have to take the whole can because it's down so much that they're not really usable. But we definitely need a bigger receptacle now in the house, because one meal and our little one's filled up.
Yeah, that's how I've noticed.
Yeah,
you could do a bigger one outside. Right. So or like in a garage, like a 5-gallon bucket, and then once a week, take it up.
I think that's a good idea. That sounds like definitely a good thing for us to do now.
It's kind of streamlines it, but we do have folks that keep their compost in the freezer, in brown paper bags until pickup day, and then they'll put it in their bucket, and then we take it. So it eliminates the smell. Yeah. Diatomaceous earth is helpful for in the summertime. Also, like wood shavings. We actually got a shipment and was able to try a product that is made with wood shavings, but it also has, like, I think, essential oils in there. So that was helpful for like sprinkling in your bucket, so it keeps it not so, keeps it fresher, or in the summertime, and with the heat, it just gets a little mucky, and smelly. And, sometimes there's little bugs in there, but it tries to, eliminate that. Like diatomaceous earth helps with the fruit flies and maggots. So, that's something.
Would you ever put diatomaceous earth in the compost bin, or would you just use that to keep down?
I think I would just keep that. I have not done enough that's a good question, because I know, so it will kill, it is not good for bugs to have that, because it'll eliminate that. So I don't know if I'd put it in my compost. It is compostable, but I think I would need to do, more research on putting it actually in.
How much in the
personal question, because I literally have this maybe it's a 2.5-gallon bucket of diatomaceous earth that I had used years ago for fleas.
Yep.
So
it's really good for that, but I don't know if it'll kill the bugs in your compost pile, the good bugs. So
right.
So
all right.
if you put
I'm
too
going to keep it under the counter for now until I hear back.
I'll do some research on that. Like, how much can you really use in your compost pile before it's a problem? Yeah.
Right. Because when you say just sprinkle a little in that, it's just really
just a little bit. And I always say, for our buckets, you can always put napkins and paper towel, as long as it doesn't have cleaner on it. So those can be composted as well, and they absorb the moisture too, and help with the smells. Yeah.
Good idea. Okay.
And they're good for browns for your,
Now I've heard from a podcast I listened to, they're actually resellers, but they run Airbnbs as well. And they always make sure they buy 100% cotton, everything linens. And then when, they get worn out in an Airbnb, obviously, probably more quickly than they do in our homes. But they cut them up and they add those to their compost. Is that something you see?
Yeah, you can compost. We're doing a trial right now with shirts that are cotton and hemp. But they you could try it. Like I always say, like compost is like an experiment. Like if you think like pet hair can go in there, you cut your hair, human hair at home, you can put that in there.
No.
So, yeah.
No.
You can put your, like, if you vacuum your carpet and it's like a lot of pet hair, you can dump that into your compost pile. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I also think that might help keep the deer away too, or the animals that,
Yes.
The human hair smell.
Yeah. But as far as like the cotton, like you really, like it's gonna, if it's like a shirt like that, like probably take a while to break down, like shred it, that it'll definitely compost. It's 100% cotton for sure. And also, like if you're drying your towels in the dryer, right, you pull out the lint and put that in your composter. If it's cotton or hemp, any other stuff, I wouldn't, it's not going to break down.
Wow.
But yeah.
All right. I never thought. I use the dryer lint for our wood stove, right? Like as a fire starter. We put it inside the toilet paper rolls and use it as a fire starter. But I think I might compost some of it too.
Try it. Yeah.
I think we try to do a lot of 100% cotton items when we can. So wow, cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So you are so educational. And you mentioned something to us before we went live, and I'm not sure if it's something you're announcing now, a new endeavor that you are taking on. So we would love to hear about it if it's time to mention it.
Yeah, thanks for. I totally forgot, but yes, I will happily talk about that. I'm launching a podcast in September. Actually, it's September now. Called.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, September. That's a couple months away. We're good. No, it is September. This month.
Yes, this month. So we're doing a kind of dry run next week, I think. Speaking of sustainability, so it's just once a month to start. And it'll be available where podcasts are available. I don't have all the details on that, but it's basically just going to be like, I'm going to be chatting with the change makers and the folks that are in the sustainability area, probably first locally, and then, who knows where it'll go from there. But just, I'm curious, I'm curious. I don't know if you know, like I went to school for communications, radio, TV. Did an internship at a TV station. It didn't really, I like your microphone there. I can like you're a reporter, but I didn't end up kind of going that route. But I feel like this kind of uses my background doing that, or my love of that, and I like asking questions. So it's weird for me to be on the opposite end, like you're asking me these questions. I'm interested in learning and knowing like what other people are doing and how they're making a difference in the community. So like, that's kind of what I'm coming from, like a curious angle, and I want to share what they're doing with the world. So whoever will listen, like what's happening in the community and how you can be more sustainable, or who you can go to for what you need for different avenues. And I'd love to have both of you on as guests. So
wonderful. Can't wait. I think that is just an amazing project that you've undertaken.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I love how I didn't know you had a communications background. That's awesome.
Years ago. I mean, but it was something that like I was interested and passionate about doing. And I don't know what happened, but obviously life took me on a different path. And I sold real estate for 12 years, and I did various like marketing and sales kind of positions. And then this is something that is, sustainability, my whole life. I remember being in high school, we started a group, Save the Environment Man. It was called STEM. So we did a bake sale to buy a part of the rainforest. And different things that we could do, like as high school students, to make a difference. So it kind of is something that, I mean, my grandparents had gardens. My grandmother used to put the food scraps, dig a hole, and that's how she would compost. So like I guess it's been like a part of me. So I feel like it's like a nice merging of like something I can do for fun and something that I can like just be out there talking and learning about these different businesses.
Learning. You'll be doing both. You'll be educating and learning yourself.
Yeah. It's funny how we come back to, our root. Like I'm a trained microbiologist.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, which is weird because I've never really worked that long as a microbiologist. And then I went into computers and all that good stuff. But now, like, and I found myself like coming back, like I have to do something like it was just part of me.
Part of
And
you, yeah.
yes, it's a consignment store, but it is still, I just felt so strongly about that whole, circular economy and just living more sustainably, that this is where it led me.
Absolutely.
Right? Just right back to my roots. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's interesting. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, I love compost. Like that just even feeds my soul more. Right.
Yeah.
Compost is so cool.
The things that you do that you're passionate about, that are making a difference, that are supporting other people doing something that's good for the environment as well. So it's pretty neat to get back to that,
Yeah. And I love the whole vibe of Back to Earth Compost Crew. And we try to do this with Conshy Consignment as well, is that, it's the little things. It's the little things. Like a lot of times when, I found this, I'm sure you have as well, when you get into these environmental movements or, circular economy, there are a lot of really extreme people. And what that does is it turns people off, and you think, I can't make a difference. I can't do all of the things. And you just kind of like, they shut down. And it's these little things like composting, like shopping sustainably, that really connect with people. You don't have to do all the things.
Right.
And I think you do such a good job of bringing that across in your business.
Thank you. I love that you mentioned that. It's so true. Yeah. You don't have to do all the things, and you shouldn't try not to get bogged down with like thinking that you need to do all the things. I need to have all the sustainable items, and I can't have any trash, and I can't. And it's like, no, just start small. And even if you don't do anything more than what you're doing, it's better than doing nothing. So, right.
Even if you mention, the circular economy to somebody, or sustainable shopping or composting, it's better than doing nothing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Talking about it, sharing with other people what you know, or doing something, and it creates a ripple effect. Like what you're doing in the community, like others are seeing that, and they're seeing your show, and you're going live. Like, oh, they're showing you what you can buy, like what they have, that so it's not going to the landfill, it's being reused again and again, and keeping the money locally, and local economy. Just like, oh wow, like I could do something like inspiring other people to do something like that, and kind of and it goes on. So one conversation might have a difference, or one show, or whoever. Like it's such a good point.
The smallest little seed.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's so true. And it's, and I think like spreading the word about that, like you don't have to do everything, is important too. Like, so they don't have the guilt, like, oh, I'm not doing this right. No, there's no right way to do it. Just.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I would shy away because like, I'm like, all right, well, I have a reason I have an SUV, right? Because I'm hauling a lot of stuff around, but I would often feel guilty, shamed, like for not, driving a more sustainable vehicle, or whatever it is that you're doing, or maybe I'm wearing polyester clothing or whatever.
Yes.
And just no judgment.
No, exactly. I come from a place of no judgment as well. Like, there is no. Yep. And
we do what we can. Absolutely.
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 All right. Well, Molly, wrap us up here, girl.
You want me to wrap us up? I was just getting ready to say, I was getting ready to put in a kind of thing that we started doing a few years ago so that it wasn't so overwhelming, is that every year we try to pick one thing to try to do that's a little different, that's helps out. So like 2 years ago, we started with the bamboo toilet paper that gets shipped every 3 months, and it helps build, what's the word I'm looking for? They're helping build toilets and things out where needed. But so, and then we did the tablet toothpaste versus the tube toothpaste one year. And so that's kind of how we like try not to overwhelm, but every year
I
we'll
love
look
it.
at, oh, how about the dissolvable sheet laundry detergent? Like that's on my list to try one year. Like we just try. And so I find that when we add it annually, like we just did the toilet
Mhm.
paper and now we've just been doing it for 2 years and it just is, that's the way it is. And now we do the Huppy toothpaste and we just have done that
Do
for
it.
a year now and that's just the way it is. So if we do those little things, it's not so overwhelming. And then we look after a while and you're like, wow, 5 years later, look at all the different places that
Yes.
made a little difference, you know?
I think that's a great way to look at, like, to add it in like that. I didn't even think about like something like that. And you're right, like you look back and it's like, oh wow, we made all these changes, but we didn't do it at once, and it
Right.
wasn't
Right.
So it's not overwhelming. We did a little bit at a time. Yeah.
Oh, I think you should do something highlighting compost as, I mean, I know you've already done the compost, Molly, but like we could at the end of the year, like highlight, like, are you ready to change? We could pull Back to Earth compost crew in as like what's your one change this
right.
year, and provide people with options. Like, is there one thing you want to change this year?
I like that. Yeah. Like
for a New Year's resolution kind of deal.
That's
here are some things that have made a difference in your life, Molly. Like here are some things, and this is maybe some ways that you can get started as well. Yeah.
Love it. I gotta write that down. All right, guys.
Great.
I love it.
This is so fun. This is so much fun. Thank you
so much. Watching and listening, please take a minute to subscribe to our YouTube channel, whatever podcast you might be listening to. Leave us a review. We love questions. Colleen loves questions, so
love them. Bring them on.
Ask away, and we'll get those. She'll get those answers for you. So this was phenomenal.
Thank you so much, Colleen. Really appreciate
having
you. And I know we'll be in touch frequently.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We see each other on social media
Thursday night.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Coffee.
All right. Thank you.